This is the Bat Flip Podcast. Now here's your host, Damien, David, and Matt. Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of the Bat Flip Podcast. Damien and Matt here with you tonight. We're going to be talking about trade deadline fallout. If you were with us for our 4.5-hour trade deadline live last Thursday, you would have known the insanity that ensued over the past 3 days before the deadline. Now that we've had a little bit of time to breathe about it, we've saw some teams play, we've saw those players go on to their new teams, and we're getting a little bit more of an idea of who's real, who's not, who bought, who sold, what the entire scenario is looking like as we set up these playoff pushes over the next 2 months. But before we get into all that, Matt, how you doing this week?
I'm doing all right. Just been chilling. It's been an interesting week. Unfortunately, my team is totally out of it. So baseball's a little bit miserable to watch for me right now in some ways. But it was fun. I watched the parts of the Speedway Classic this weekend. That was fun. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Actually went down to Auburn on Saturday. They had a big sale of all Auburn just switched from Under Armour to Nike apparel, and all of the entire stock of Under Armour gear that the teams had, like the team issued stuff, was all for sale on Saturday for like super cheap. So I got like 2 game worn jerseys for like $18 a piece. And I got a big, like $130 rain jacket for $10. I mean, it was a crazy sale. It was worth the 2-hour drive to go to that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been a good week. Damien, how are you?
I'm doing good. My team did a light buy at the deadline. Nothing too crazy, although they were apparently heavily involved in trying to get someone who didn't happen. But overall, it's been a fun week. Luka signed his extension with the Lakers, so That's exciting news. He's going to be around for at least 3 more years. So overall, it's been a week, man. I tell you, I'll the trade deadline is one of my favorite times of the year. It's one of the funnest times for me. But then it's over, and you're like, man, like at least that was over. And then you look, and you're like, all right, well, we now got like 2 months until playoff baseball. Like, it's kind of a lull period, not much really happens. It's hard to bring up news. Most news is just injury news, but I'm excited. It seems like it's going to be there's going to be some heck of a playoff pushes here and some good races, but good.
Oh, I was going to say, there's going to be some teams this year that are really good that get left out too.
Yeah.
There might be a couple 90-win teams that get left out.
Maybe.
So it's going to be interesting, but yeah, I'm with you. The month of August is it is a lull period. I mean, that's why that's why MLB is scheduling stuff like the Speedway Classic for August. Yeah. It's just because you're kind of in the dog days. The playoff heat really hadn't started yet. It's just there's not tons of urgency to the games yet still. And you're kind of after all the excitement of the All-Star and the deadline, and it's the month that is probably like the lightest month on the baseball calendar.
Yeah, no, it very much is. It for some teams this will be a very intense month. There's definitely some series you have to watch out for with division races, but it is the month where like everyone kind of takes a breath. Obviously fantasy football and football's getting ready to start. There's games this Thursday, so that's where it kind of takes a break. You get college football near the end of the month too. So it is what it is. So we just gotta deal with it. But let's transition over to talking about the Speedway Classic. You mentioned it a couple times already. Obviously, your Atlanta Braves were within the Speedway Classic. If you don't know what the Speedway Classic is, we've hit it on a couple times, but Major League Baseball had a game at NASCAR's Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee. It was between the Braves and the Reds, which are both about 5 hours away from Bristol Motor Speedway. So it was right in the middle of each. It was a really insane look. We're both NASCAR fans, obviously. So seeing what we know Bristol Motor Speedway to be, and then seeing a baseball diamond in the middle of it, it was crazy. It was really cool. Watching how they did all that and the drainage and stuff, which they needed, was really fascinating. But anyways, it was supposed to be on Saturday. They had a 2-hour rain delay going into it. The Braves actually pulled Spencer Strider from starting. The Reds decided to start Chase Burns anyways. And then the game was delayed in the bottom of the first inning due to rain and actually ended up being postponed at that point until Sunday when it got restarted, which I wasn't able to watch most of it on Sunday. So I know you'll be able to hit more on that. But just before you get into the weeds of the game, what was it like having your team invested in that game? Because I've had like the Seoul series, I've had the Japan series.
Yeah.
David and I both had like the Japan series. So it's like to have your team in one of these special events, how did it feel? And also being at Bristol.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing about being at Bristol was so cool. That's obviously just that is incredibly unique place to be. I mean it's literally it's shaped like a football stadium, but
Yeah.
it's got like it's fully enclosed all the way around like a football stadium, but it seats like 150,000 people.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So that was really cool to see, and obviously they didn't have the entire stadium full for the baseball game because obviously like you can sit so far away, it's not even worth going.
Right.
But they did sell like 90,000 tickets. I think the attendance was like 91,000 or something, or the amount of tickets sold, which shattered the Major League Baseball record for attendance. So that was really cool. So that was so awesome to see the Bristol. I did get the full Bristol experience. You mentioned the rain
Yeah.
out, so I've I used to go to Bristol as a kid for NASCAR, and that's the Bristol experience. Going there and you unfortunately getting rained out. Got to come back on Sunday, but yeah, and then having the Braves in it. I mean that was cool. The Braves have done a few of these special events. They did the Fort Bragg game a few years ago. I think they've done one other one at some point too. I'm blanking on which one it was.
Were they part of any
Um,
of the little league ones?
they might have been. I don't remember. But they have done a couple of these types of games. And it was cool to see. I mean, obviously, it's the Braves season is a sore subject right now, but
All right.
it was fun to see them get to play in that environment and in that unique game, especially for the guys that are still around that are franchise players that are this is just a lost year for him at this point.
Yeah.
It was unfortunate that Ronald Acuna Jr. didn't get that stage because he's not going to get a playoff stage this year with his injury. But yeah, I mean it was really cool. I mean, and of course the Braves won, so that was shocking and pretty cool too. So.
Yeah, I think the coolest thing about it was the home run car they
Yeah, that
had.
was cool.
That was pretty cool. Every time
Yep,
they hit a home run, they had a car flying around the
yep,
actual track
yep,
there. And
yep. Eli White.
Eli White hit 2 home runs of all people. One of the
Yep.
fastest players in the game hits 2 home runs at that point. Like, just
He's
crazy.
the only man to ever hit a home run in the state of Tennessee
There you go.
for
Yeah.
in the majors.
Um, it was just a cool experience. Like I didn't even get to watch much of Sundays, like I said, but I was able to catch some highlights of it, and it was a fun environment.
Yeah, I will say one last thing about it. The Pitbull Tim McGraw thing was that was interesting to see.
Is that a duo you never knew you needed
I never thought I'd see Tim McGraw and Pitbull do a concert together, but
in the rain?
there we were in the rain. Yes,
Yeah, never knew you needed it, but you got it anyways.
you got it anyways.
Yeah, a wild one. So let's look back at the trade deadline, and kind of just let's do a short recap of kind of the big moves that happened, and then that kind of leads us into the buyers and sellers of it all. So the two big moves I would say that were the one was expected, one wasn't as much, but Mason Miller getting traded to the San Diego Padres from the Sacramento, Las Vegas, Oakland, whatever you want to call them, Athletics, for the number 3 prospect in baseball, Leo DeVries, and a haul of prospects there as well. And then Eugenio Suarez getting traded to the Seattle Mariners again, which is a perfect fit. We all thought that should be a reunion there with Suarez. I'm not going to ask you which trade was better, because I think we would all say that, like, I think the Suarez trade is better in the eyes of trying to win this year, and Mason Miller trade is better in return for the team that trading a relief pitcher. But not even which was more shocking, but like, how do you think these impact moving forward?
So the Mason Miller trade, it can be difficult to say because here's the deal: if the Padres get hot and they win the World Series this year and they need that lockdown reliever, then I think they would say it's worth it. they're in such a weird position right now because their their farm system is one of the thinnest farm systems I've ever seen. They had some quality at the top still before last week with DeVries, and Salas has fallen off some on lists. He's still up there, and I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
belief in him still. It's such a
Yeah.
young catcher. He's young for his level he's at right now, so he's still high up on the prospect lists. But once you get past those two guys, their farm system's already barren,
Yeah.
and they also have a roster with a lot of players who are signed long term, who are getting really expensive and are aging. Guys like Manny Machado, who this year has been very good, and he's still very good, but like 2 or 3 years down the line from now, he's going to be in his late 30s and being paid like $35 million a year. And the Padres at this stage, without Seitler, uh, being the owner since he passed away, it's like they
Yeah.
don't have the same kind of like ability to just eat that money and just pay him and go find somebody else to replace him. And even though he's going to be your guy as long as he wants to play.
Right.
So same goes for some guys like you, Darvish, and Jake Cronenworth, and Joe Musgrove is signed on a pretty long-term deal. Like, obviously Xander Bogaerts is signed to a long-term deal, and he hasn't performed very well for them so far. And he's up there, on the wrong side of 30. You've got it's just one of those things that and without a farm system, you're not going to be able to sustain it. So the Padres are like, I think their attitude right now is basically, we've got this guy, this prospect. He's probably not going to be a part of winning teams here, because when he gets to the point of coming up 2 or 3 years from now, this one we're going to fall off and we're going to be bad for an extended period because of the way this is. Let's go all in. So they just threw their top prospect out. This is the highest rated prospect to get traded since, I believe, Yon Moncada got traded for Chris Sale in like the mid 2010s. Like, that's the rarity of getting a top 5 prospect in baseball traded.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have been Lucas Giolito for the Adam Eaton trade. I think that was a year later.
I think it was tied.
Yeah,
Giolito and him were tied. I think Moncada was higher.
Moncada was the number 1 prospect in baseball when he got traded. Giolito is, I think, the number 3 prospect, and that's what DeVries was. This is all on Pipeline. DeVries is like number 5 on Baseball America, number 4 on Fangraphs. He's different on each different one, but
yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's just kind of been the Padres thing. So, I mean, the A's, though, like, this is just a phenomenal trade for the A's. I mean, Mason Miller is awesome, but he's also a reliever who only pitches 1 inning a night, and he's got a history of injuries. And I don't think that there's very much I don't think there's a lot of confidence that he could go to be a starter and be able to do that long term because of the injury issues he's had. So, you might have just gotten like the guy that, and I know y'all were talking this on Thursday before I got in there, because I got in there a little bit late on Thursday with the deadline show, but Francisco Lindor, that's exactly who DeVries reminds me of. I mean, he's very similar to me to Francisco Lindor. Maybe not quite the same currently defensively, but like, I mean, just the way that he kind of does everything well. He's got power. He's a switch hitter. There's nothing to not like about this guy. I mean,
I think he's going to have he's going to have less speed and a little less defense, but I think he's going to have a little bit more average and a little bit more power than Lindor has.
Yeah.
But I think very much around the same level of player of what you're looking for. Now you're talking about a Hall of Famer potentially in Lindor if he keeps this up for sure.
Yeah.
We're projecting DeVries to be like this level of player.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's a Hall of Fame level player, but like that's everything that he's looked like so far.
Yeah,
I'll say leagues.
I think worst case for DeVries is somebody like Jurickson Profar, who has had a long, good career in the big leagues. I mean, he just hit a home run tonight.
By far away the worst.
Yeah, that's like a worst case scenario. I mean, that's like
he went through like 8 years of being not good.
Oh yeah. Well, he also had the injury issues too. So, like that's kind of like, to me, like the worst case scenario. But I mean, Profar's had 2 or 3 good years. I mean, so like I would still say that Profar's career has been more valuable than a reliever's career, even if it's a great reliever.
I wonder if maybe it's not a direct 1-to-1 comparison, but like if DeVries ends up more like a Seager route, a switch hitting Seager. You know, he's going to
Yeah.
hit for a little bit more power, a little bit more average. Defense is not going to be the best, but it'll get by.
I
He's
think his
not going to
defense
steal
is
as
going to be
much.
pretty good. I mean, it's not going to be like
It
he's not
depends how
going
he
to
fills
be
out.
Andrelton Simmons there, but I think
I think it
it's going to
depends how
be
it
decent.
fills out.
But
His body's going to change a lot,
yeah,
and they're expecting him to get a lot bigger than he is right now.
yep.
So
He's
we'll
only
see.
18 in high
High A.
A and really performing well there. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a very good prospect.
There will definitely be a
So,
lot of Leo DeVries talk on this channel
yep.
in future
Yes.
years.
Yes. But
But let's look a little bit at the Suarez
yeah,
to the Mariners, because it is a perfect fit, right? They had the holes at first base and third base. They went to Arizona for both of those, got both
yep.
rental bats in Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. Suarez, who spent 2 years in Seattle before, got traded from Seattle to Arizona before the 2024 season. This was his second year in Arizona. Fits right back into that. He's a fan favorite over there. I was just reading a thing right before he got on where Torey Lovello said he called Eugenio Suarez the morning after he was traded, just to talk to him. And he said it was like 7 hours or something after the trade officially went through. And Eugenio had already like changed his picture to all Mariners stuff. And Lovello's like, it hasn't even been like a day, dude. It's not even 12 hours. And you're already like back to Mariners stuff. But that just shows how much Eugenio really loved it in Seattle. He didn't want to really get traded from there in the first place. But now he's back and into the middle of that lineup with Cal, with Julio Rodriguez, who's doing his second half Julio Rodriguez things, and Randy Rosarena. So how do you think that fit is going to handle? And they are currently, as we're right here, they are 2.5 games back of Houston.
Yeah.
Trying for this division.
Yeah, I feel a lot better about the Mariners. Obviously you mentioned this is the best their lineups looked in their current competitive window. I think even better than their playoff team a couple years ago. I mean, Randy obviously is having a pretty good year. Cal Raleigh obviously has been like an MVP candidate.
Probably is the MVP now.
He could be. He's getting close to Judge since Judge is injured right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the more Cal Raleigh continues to perform while Judge is out, the better his chances get. But Julio Rodriguez obviously hasn't had the best year, but he's just such a talented player. You just feel like he's going to end up, really continuing to have a great second half. And I mean, he's got a 112 WRC plus and 3.5 wins above replacement. So it's not like he's having a bad year. I mean, that is a bad year for him.
Yeah.
Like,
but then you look at the second half, he has like 1,000 OPS.
Yeah, he's been killing it in the second half. But Jorge Polanco having his resurgent year. JP Crawford is having a really nice year at the plate. A 360 on base guy. Like, I mean, this team's got really good bats. And you look at their rotation, and their biggest weakness, I think, has been their rotation. It's been their rotation hasn't been healthy. So, but it's starting to get there.
Yeah.
Brian Wu currently back, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, these guys they've been injured at times this year. Luis Castillo. I mean, their rotation is solid, and they also added a good bullpen arm too, in the deadline, Caleb Ferguson. So, I mean, I feel pretty good about this team. Going forward this year. I mean, I don't know that they'll pass the Astros. The Astros have been cold, and the Astros are dealing with their injury issues too right now. Isaac Paredes just got injured and will be out a while. So, and I believe Jeremy Pena might have gotten banged up too.
Pena is on his really close to returning, but they did just get Correa to fill the Paredes role, playing third base.
Right.
But I think it's more their pitching than anything.
Pena is back, by the way. He came back yesterday.
Okay, I knew it was soon.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Mariners are built now for a deeper playoff run. That the biggest thing they were missing is a lot of those bats I named aren't slug guys.
Yeah,
and they did slug guys. They really Cal Raleigh was their slugging, but they've got a couple other guys that can drive in runs, hit some homers. I think that's going to be important for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned it a little bit, but I think the other big shocking move was Carlos Correa returning to the Astros there. Obviously he's going to slot back in at third base at this moment. Sounds like Paredes is going to be out all for the year. I did see a thing that he's trying to rehab it instead of undergoing surgery to have a potential to return maybe in a playoffs. but I mean, Correa's going to fit in at third base at this moment. They're still missing Yordan Alvarez, which has been a big miss for them. But you still have Framber, you still have Hunter Brown, Christian Walker's found it a little bit recently. I saw he had a little bit of a hot stretch. But I mean, Carlos Correa back to the Astros. It's like the biggest hate piece ever, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, this didn't connect for me before the deadline. I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously the Astros have been really good at shortstop this year when Jeremy Pena's been healthy. He's been awesome. So, and then if they've had Isaac Paredes playing third, and he's been awesome. So, Carlos Correa didn't make a lot of sense, but then when Paredes got hurt, I think he made a lot more sense. And obviously Paredes is a guy who can DH as well. Jordan's been out a lot. Like, I think that's definitely an option that you could use. Isaac Paredes, I believe, can play second base a little bit too. I guess Altuve's back there now, but like, I definitely think that, obviously just bringing in guys who can hit is always a good thing. And, they were able to get Correa, get a discount on him because the Twins paid a decent amount of his, his money. And then also the fact that you get him for not having to give up any prospects, which the Astros really don't have very many top prospects right now. Their farm system is about as weak as you can find in baseball. So, getting Carlos Correa is kind of paying money for somebody was kind of their way of buying. And I think the Correa deal works out well for them. I think he's going to fit right in. He obviously loves being there. And at times he's been, over the last couple of years, he's had some resurgent, stretches. We'll see if he's able to stay healthy and have a good second half. And maybe this return sparks him a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how he takes to playing third base, less wear and tear on his body, but also how he fares to playing back with inside, where Minnesota is outside. It's a cold weather environment, where Houston, you're going to more of a hot weather environment, but you're also going to a place that plays indoors most of their games. They usually have the roof closed. There, you're going back to a real hitter-friendly park, especially for Correa with those Crawford boxes. I definitely expect an uptick back in Correa offensively, and I'm interested to see how his move to third base potentially keeps him healthier moving forward. That's going to be really interesting to see, and then how they work this all back, because when, let's say, Paredes doesn't even come back this year, when he comes back next year, well, where's he going to play? Because you have Walker on a big contract at first base, you have Altuve at second base. Those guys, you're not going to keep putting Yordan in outfield every single day.
Right.
You might put him in left field on certain days and then DH another one. Are you going to have Paredes try and play left field?
That's got to be the plan. Like,
I guess
Paredes out there.
I mean, you tried Altuve out there. It wasn't pretty, but
yeah, but Paredes is a lot younger, and I mean, it's not. I don't know.
Playing in front of the Crawford boxes helps, but it's gonna be fascinating to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing to throw Yordan out there, then Paredes might as well. I mean, you can throw anybody out there if you throw Yordan out there.
Maybe, but I mean, at least Yordan came up playing outfield. It's where he has a little bit of feel out there. So I want to hit on let's go use a bullpen arm first, and then we'll kind of transition that into the rest of the bullpen market and what kind of happened from there. But let's talk about Yohan Duran going to Philadelphia, because he had two electric moments this week at Citizens Bank Park. His first one, they had the whole the Twins gave him everything they needed for his walkout, his entrance from the bullpen there, a four pitch save on Friday night. And then he locked down Sunday Night Baseball last night again after Christopher Sanchez had a great 8-inning game. But the Phillies, we've talked relentlessly how they've been looking for back end of the bullpen arms for years, right? They went through the whole like Craig Kimbrell experience. They went through Alvarado, who then got his suspension. Now you have a guy who's a lockdown guy for 2.5 years. Like, this has to cement them as like the top team in the NL East right now, right?
Probably. I mean, the Mets made their moves too. I would think that honestly, I think they're about tied. I mean, I think they might be tied in the standings too. I mean, they're really, really even.
They're half game back. Phillies a half game ahead. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they're virtually tied. They have the same number of wins. it's. I mean, I think the Phillies are maybe a little bit stronger than the Mets, but it's difficult to say. I really liked this trade for both teams. I mean, really, I liked it more for Philly, honestly, because
Yeah.
the package they gave up was good, but I mean, Mick Abel is got great stuff, but the command isn't very good. He's got a large amount of reliever risk. He really was finally having a pretty decent AAA year, but it wasn't anything like incredibly special. And I don't think he has not performed well in the big leagues. He's pitched 25 innings this year, and it's been really bad.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not a big believer in that profile, especially. I mean, he's 23 years old, so he is young, but I'm not a huge believer in that profile. And then Eduardo Tate is a catcher, and sometimes catching prospects can be a little bit difficult to evaluate. And he's also, you know, I don't know, he hadn't been incredible at the plate.
Yeah.
So, he is, I believe he's how old is he? He's 18, so he's very young. Um, I don't know. He's a fine prospect, but when you started comparing the return you got for Joe and Duran was not going to get the same thing that Mason Miller got. But when you start comparing those returns, like,
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't even on the same stratosphere as the Mason Miller return, and I think
Yeah.
that's part of what you're kind of like, really, like, you couldn't get more than this, like you couldn't get Painter instead of Abel or something, like,
Or Aiden Miller or Justin
or
Crawford.
Aiden Miller instead of Tight.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
get what you're coming from. I also thought the return was a little bit light. I would have liked, to get Crawford or Miller instead of Tate. But the Twins, I mean, let's transition to the Twins because they were the deadline's biggest seller. They sold off, I don't know,
just like 10 players or something off
I think
their
it was more
25
than
man
that
or
even.
26 man.
Yeah, it was crazy the amount of guys that they traded off of their thing. They went full on rebuild mode basically, but they didn't trade Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
He was apparently close to getting dealt to the Red Sox at one point. They didn't trade him. They didn't trade Pablo Lopez. I mean, he's on the IL, but still
Yeah.
someone would have traded for that because he's
Those are,
controlled past this year.
yeah. Those are
Um,
off-season moves.
maybe. I mean, the prices going at this deadline, you could have got a decent haul from like the Red Sox for Ryan, but
Yeah.
I mean, just full on sell mode. I mean, they traded Louis Varlin, who had 5.5 years of control still and was barely making the league minimum, and they still
Yeah.
traded him off. And he was a Minnesota guy from St. Paul. Like, I don't know. Some of it's just some really weird moves.
Yeah. I mean, the Twins seem to me like they've been a team the last couple of years that's been just unsure of exactly where they stand. They haven't really been super competitive and buying and signing free agents and trading for guys and whatever. But at the same time, they haven't sold. They've been competitive. They've been. I think they were in the playoffs year before last. Is that when they went in and they actually won a game in the
Yeah,
playoffs?
but not
Um,
last year, the year before.
yeah, and then last year, of course, they missed the playoffs, but they were. I think they were decent last year, if I remember right. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a weird roster. You've got high end talent there, but it's all so injury prone. Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, and before this week, Carlos Correa. You had these three like incredible all-star caliber players who can't stay healthy. So it's always been kind of a can the Twins stay healthy thing. And then this year, kind of the surrounding cast has just disappointed. I mean, guys like Edward Julian, who a couple years ago looked like he was going to end up being a really solid player. He's in AAA right now. He's been so bad. Like,
Yeah,
none of their moves that they've made have really worked out all that well. And they haven't made a ton of moves, but the ones they've made haven't worked out all that well. Like, they never got a breakout from like Wallner or Larnock. Were a
yeah,
couple of guys that, like, you felt like maybe one of those guys would break out at some point because they had like high end talent, but they were just kind of, for whatever reason, they weren't fully putting it together. Um, but so it makes sense for them to go into sell mode. I know we disagree on kind of the merits of doing like a full blown blow it up and rebuild from scratch type thing. I'm a little bit bigger of a believer in that than you and David are. We talked about that a lot on Thursday, so go check out our recap on Thursday of the Twins. But I mean, the main issue I had with the return that they got was the fact that they went and got like major league players in their return or close to major league players. Whereas I feel like if you're going to blow it up and trade guys with 6 years of control left, like go take some lottery tickets, go take some shots, go find the next superstar. And you're probably not going to find that by trading for a guy who's been sent to AAA after being in the big leagues for a couple of years. I mean, you might, but probably not. So, and that referencing the Taj Bradley trade,
Yeah.
like, um, so it's interesting. I mean, it can work. It can work for the Twins. Seems like they're kind of trying to retool, where maybe they like have 1 or 2 bad years and then they're back at it. But we'll see. In that division, that is something that can work. We've seen the
Yeah.
Royals kind of do it. We've seen obviously we've seen the Tigers really, kind of build through without having this incredible farm system until the last year. They've really drafted well over the last 3 or 4 years and have built a really good farm. But, a lot of their current star players, other than Riley Green and maybe Scooble, weren't like homegrown players. So, or they weren't like the top prospects that were homegrown, like,
Yeah.
guys like Kerry Carpenter and, guys like that. They didn't really, Zach McKinstry's been so good this year. Like those guys didn't really they weren't top prospects. I mean, they were
No.
just guys the Tigers figured out a way to develop. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, with the strength of the Tigers, the Guardians are still pretty good every year, and then the strength of the Royals have gotten better. Um, it going into a rebuild is not the craziest thing to do. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But it always sucks for a fan base seeing all their, beloved players get traded like that. I mean, it really does suck.
Yeah, it's just wild when you do like 13 of them at the
Yeah.
deadline or something too. It's just kind of a shock,
Yeah.
A lot of Twins fans thought coming into the year that they were going to have a good chance to compete,
Yeah.
and then they do this at the deadline. It's really kind of head scratching. And then it just seems like it's going to lead into the offseason where
Yep.
if you were already having
Yeah.
so much talk about Ryan and
Joe
maybe
Ryan. Yeah.
Lopez, those are going to be guys, and maybe even Byron Buxton. I mean, he said he wasn't going to waive his no trade clause,
Yeah.
but maybe he changes his mind now.
Yeah. I mean, I could
and
see Buxton decide that, if this is going to be a 3 or 4 year, 5 year rebuild,
Yeah.
then why do I want to be here? I can go somewhere else and compete. This is probably, I mean, he's not going to be playing that much longer. I mean,
Yeah,
with
I
this
mean,
injury history,
I know he loves Minnesota, and he
yeah.
said that he wouldn't
Oh
waive
yeah.
it. He was going to spend the rest of his career there. But I mean, if this happens, you have to think that maybe that is a conversation that's had. Now, if
Yeah.
it happens, who knows? But maybe he wants to stick around and just be the guy to play there. I mean, who knows?
Very well could be.
So while we're in the bullpen market, let's talk about the team that did the most activity in their bullpen, and did that blow up in their face this last weekend. And that is the New York Yankees. They went out and acquired Jake Bird. They went out and acquired David Bednar. They went out and acquired Camilo Doval. And all three of them blew up against the Marlins this week.
Yep.
I think it was something like they gave up 9 runs or something between the three of them. I forget that actual thing I sent in the chat, though. But
I think it's 9 runs in 3 innings.
Yeah.
Between the
just blew up.
Yeah.
When they needed help in the back end of the bullpen. I think we all kind of liked that they went and got those 3 people. Like, we thought that was going to be a very good, addition there to help them and strengthen the back end with Devin Williams' struggles and Luke Weaver's struggles. And then it all kind of just, I know it's one game, right? So you can't really say too much, but it's like, it was the first game after that was supposed to be your thing that saved kind of the bullpen, and all 3 of them kind of blew up at the same time. It was like, that's not really a great look.
Yeah.
To the Marlins too.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that concerned me a little bit about the moves that the Yankees made was that, with the exception of Bednar, they're trading for more walk-prone guys. I mean, Bird is a very walk-prone guy, and then of course Doval's had his chronicles of how walk-prone he is. Now Bednar's is got really good command, but that's the combined with a guy in Devin Williams who's walk-prone too. So, there's a lot of just uneasiness in that bullpen. And I think the Yankees' problem extends past the bullpen, though. I know that they had that one game but we probably need to talk about the fact that the Yankees got swept by the Marlins this weekend.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Yankees are really struggling right now. They seem to be super out of sorts. Aaron Judge is out. That's a big deal. But like, I mean, Anthony Volpe's making an error basically every single night. And Anthony Volpe's a really good defensive player. That is not. It is definitely a mental thing with him because like he has been like last year he was the 7th best defensive player in baseball by value. I mean, like there's something going on there, and I think the pressure of might be getting to him. I don't know, but something's going on there.
Well, I wanted to go ahead and talk basically. I wanted to go through each division real quick and kind of like talk about that. So we can start with the AL East and kind of use this as a transition period to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because as it stands right now, Toronto is top of the division, 65-48. The Boston Red Sox have now overtaken second in that division, 62-51, 3 games back of the Blue Jays. Remember when they were like having one of the worst starts to the season? We're like last in this division, and they've recovered pretty nicely. The Yankees are now 3rd place at 16-52, 4.5 back, and then Tampa is 10 back, and Baltimore's 13.5 back. You know, you talk about the Yankees. We'll start kind of there because that's where we were just at. This was a problem. This is something that, and not to bring up last year as much, but the Dodgers themselves in the World Series identified the Yankees having a lack of fundamentals, right? It was the thing they said all offseason, basically, when talking about the World Series. They were like, we always told ourselves, you put the ball in play, they're going to lose it for themselves. The Yankees were super mad about that. Everyone was super up in arms like, well, no, it's not, right? Like, well, you're seeing it. It translated at that point in the World Series, and it seemed like it's leaned back over to this year as well.
Yeah.
Well, Volpe's starting to play bad. Jazz is having his mental errors as well, right? We saw that one where it was a pop-up to second base, and he got picked off at first base after that. They've been playing bad defense as well. You know, the help with Brian McMahon at third base, that's going to help a little bit.
Yeah.
But in general, they've been playing bad defense, and they really just seem like they have a lack of fundamentals. And it's something that's been an issue since years before, and it seems like they haven't really corrected that. And then when a guy like Aaron Boone gets asked about it or called out on it, he wants to kind of fly off the handle and be like, well, you guys just don't know what you're talking about. It's like, well, it obviously seems to be like an issue because it's a reoccurring thing.
Yeah. I mean, part of it, I mean, Jazz Chisholm is a player that's been a problem for him for a long time. Just lack of focus in certain times. I mean, Jazz Chisholm's a really good player. I'm not saying that he's not worth he's not worth, you know, dealing with the downsides, but like that's been a problem of his. Just lapses like that, losing focus. Volpe surprises me how bad. I mean, the thing is, and this is something that you don't hear me go outside the numbers very often with stuff, but the pressure of playing in New York for the Yankees is crazy. I mean, the way that the media and their fan base reacts to things, and sometimes players just crack when they play for the Yankees and just lose it. They get the yips, whatever. They just lose it, and that seems to be what's happening with Volpe right now. And I hate it because, like, I think Volpe's a super talented young player, but I mean, he and I wouldn't say he has the yips, but I just think mentally right now he's just not right. I mean, you see it with the Yankees pretty often. You even see it with Judge in the playoffs. Like Judge just turns into a different player in the playoffs because there's all that pressure on him that gets put on him about being a playoff choker, and the New York media is ruthless.
Yeah.
So, and I think I understand why Aaron Boone is acting the way he is in the media, trying to defend everybody, trying to get the pressure off the players and get it on him. But I mean, the Yankees have a lot of issues. We've talked about so many times the lack of depth that they have, and that they're going to go as far as Aaron Judge carries them. And guess what? Aaron Judge isn't there right now. He's hurt. Yep. So, and he'll be back, but he's hurt right now, and they're really struggling right now. So, the Yankees having some issues. I mean, and of course, when Judge comes back, they'll probably get hot at some point again. They've got 88% playoff odds. They're probably going to be the wild card team. I think the Blue Jays are going to win this division most likely. The Red Sox might win this division.
Yeah.
So, but the Yankees are, you know, they're a mess at the moment.
Yeah, and it's not even a lock that they'll be a playoff team, like a wild card team. They're only
Not
two
a
and a
lot.
half. They're only a 2.5 games up in the wild card at this moment. Like it's if they keep playing, you know, the way they are playing right now, it's very realistic that they fall out.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about the wild card here in a minute. Let's go through the
Yeah.
rest of the divisions real quick, and then we'll get back to the wild card. So the AL Central, we talk about the Tigers are having an
Yep.
8.5 game lead in that one. They've basically walked away with this division. Cleveland basically did a sell off. They've obviously lost Emmanuel Clase. They sold Shane Bieber. They were really close to trading Stephen Kwan. Kansas City, they kind of bought a little bit, but only bought on the fringes. And then obviously we talked about Minnesota sell off, and the White Sox are having a really bad year as well. So this one's pretty simple. The Tigers are running away with it. This is going to be the Tigers division. Everyone else kind of understood that and backed off really at the end of the day. So
Yeah. I will say Kansas City has been playing good baseball lately. They've started to come along a little bit. I'm sure that those pieces that they got at the deadline will probably help them a little bit. I don't think they got anybody that's going to really help them, but I mean, it's better than what they had. So if the Tigers just got ice cold or something, I mean, which the Tigers have been pretty cold lately. They were pretty clearly like the best team in baseball for a while, and now they're still obviously very good, but they have fallen off a little bit. I don't think the Royals are going to catch them. Don't get me wrong with that. But I mean, the Royals, if they got hot, they could make a run at that last wild card. Still, it's not out of the question. So.
They're only 3.5 back of that last wild card, so it is very possible that they have a run at that potentially.
And I will say the Guardians are over 500. I mean, they're not out of it by any means, but I think just the attitude around them right now with losing Clase for the rest of the year and maybe forever, and like that, I don't think too many people just believe in the Guardians at all. But you never know. This is one of those teams that like
they surprise you.
Can't trust them. You can't trust that they're not going to be good because they all of a sudden start being good again.
Yeah. Let's look at the American League West now with Houston obviously leading the division right now. Seattle 2.5 back, like we talked about, in a wild card spot. Texas 58 and 55, 4.5 back of the division, 2 games back of the Mariners for that final wild card spot. And then you have the Angels at 8 games back, 5.5 back of the wild card, who for some reason tried to do a little light buying at the deadline instead of selling off. No wonder there. And then the A's, I thought they were going to be a little bit better this year. They're 49 and 65, 14 games back. Obviously, we talked about them selling off Mason Miller, and if they traded JP Sears and that as well. But I think with the moves Seattle made at the deadline, I think they have a very real possibility. I mean, it's only 2.5 games, but like if you're telling me for the rest of the season, I kind of favor the Mariners over the Astros at this point.
Yeah, at the moment I do, and I believe I've kind of favored them since the beginning of the year. And then of course the Astros got really hot for a while there and really took control of the division. But the Mariners have reeled them back in a little bit. The Rangers are really interesting too. They're right here. They haven't had everything go right, and they still are right here in this thing.
Yeah.
So and I think Corey Seager has been back. He had been injured for a while. You've got I don't know if Wyatt Langford, what the status on him is. He's back right now too.
Yeah, he's back. I was gonna say
playing well.
I mean, they're being carried right now by that pitching staff. Nathan, no one's talking about the year Nathan Eovaldi's having.
He's having an incredible year.
Like he has like a 1.7 ERA.
Yep.
In like I think it's like almost 100 and something innings.
103 innings.
Yeah.
He's got a 1.7 ERA.
It's crazy.
He has DeGrom having his resurgent year that he's had. And then Tyler Mahle, he's only pitched 14 games, but he's hurt. Is he out for?
He's still got a little while.
He could come back in September, it seems like. But I mean, he had a great year, and then I mean,
what the hell did they do to Patrick Corbin?
What did they do with Patrick Corbin, man? Like, I mean, come on, that guy was like the worst pitcher in baseball for like 3 years in a row, and
longer than that,
pretty good. Yeah, he's been pretty good for them. So, Jack Leiter's been a lot better than his first couple of years there, and of course Chris Martin is great in the bullpen. Hobie Milner's having a great year, and they added a couple of bullpen arms at the deadline too.
Yeah,
so
Martin got
Danny
hurt.
Colomb.
I know Martin got hurt, so
yeah, he did.
But they added Danny Colomb and Phil Maton.
Phil Maton. Those are both good relievers. Like,
Yeah.
watch out for them too. I mean, I think this is gonna end up being another 3-horse race like it was a couple years ago, where these teams could very well be within like 1 or 2 games of each other at the end of the year.
I wouldn't be surprised if the AL West has 3 playoff teams this year. I could very well see the Mariners and the Rangers
I
or
wouldn't
the
be
Astros
shocked,
making it.
but they've got a pretty good way for both of those teams to catch the AL East teams.
It's
Like,
only
because
2.5.
Yankees and Red Sox being there, like,
It's only 2.5
I
games
don't
between
know.
the Rangers to the
Yeah,
Yankees, and only a half game
sure.
between the Mariners and the
It is
Yankees.
true. I mean, we'll see.
So
It's very possible. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying it will be, but I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah.
So let's jump over to the National League real quick. We talked a little bit about the National League East being the 2-horse race between Philly and the Mets. They're half game back there. The Marlins. They are 55-55. They are 500 right now. 7.5 back of
Good for them.
the division. 6 back of the wild card. It's unlikely they're going to make a run here, but they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball recently too. So good for them though. Like you said, no one thought they'd be in this level, at this point. Obviously, a lot has been about Kyle Stowers, his insane breakout this year. But they have some other solid pieces too. The return of Yuri Perez has helped. Edward Cabrera kind of breaking out.
Yeah, Otto Lopez has been awesome.
Yeah.
Xavier Edwards is having a pretty good year again. Jesus Sanchez is having a pretty.
He got traded.
He was having a good year for them, so he had contributed and then, but yeah, the pitching staff has been solid. They've won a lot of tight games too.
Yeah,
like they're just one of those teams that seems to find ways to win.
Yeah, and then the Braves and Nats bringing up the back of this, back of the division here. Looking at the National League Central now, the Milwaukee Brewers, the best team in baseball, Milwaukee Brewers, as of recording this. The Cubs have fallen 2 games back there. They're still 3.5 up in the wild card at the moment, though. The Reds, 9.5 back, 4 games back of the wild card. So there's an outside shot. Maybe they make a run there. And then the Cardinals and Pirates bringing it up. They're pretty well out.
Yeah, I think the Reds have the potential to find it. Their pitching's been pretty good. If they could just hit a little bit more.
And they even haven't had Hunter Green the whole year. He's been hurt too. And he should be back soon. I think he makes one more rehab start and he should be returning.
Andrew Abbott has continued to be really solid. Nick Lodolo has been incredible. Obviously Chase Burns, his ERA hasn't been great, but the peripherals on him and his 7 starts are really good. He's got a 36% strikeout rate.
I want to say before the Braves start, I want to say he went 3 or 4 starts in a row, striking out 10. Yeah,
his stuff looks incredible. He's going to be really good. It's just been a little bit of bad luck to start his career. Brady Singer's been solid. So, yeah, I mean, this pitching staff's been great, and they just got to find ways to hit just a little bit more. Like, they got to have Matt McLean get hot and be the Matt McLean we saw a couple years ago. Noelvi Marte continuing to play well. Like, Ellie De La Cruz, it has been good. Don't get me wrong; he's been very good this year, but he's got another level in him. I think that he could hit. So definitely looking at this team as one that has some form of upside to maybe kind of get in that conversation again. But the really interesting thing here is the Brewers being the division leader. I mean, the Cubs are
and not just the division leader, but the best team in baseball. Good.
Yeah, I mean the Cubs are sitting there we've had this incredible year so far. How are the Brewers still beating us again? It's just, how are they doing it again?
Well,
and
the Cubs pitching has really struggled recently.
It has, and that's going to be a problem for them. They didn't do anything at the deadline to fix that either.
No, and I mean the only thing they did was Soroka, and he left the game after 1 inning today, and his velocity was down. So we'll see there. And if David was here, he'd be screaming about how they should have got more pitching at the deadline, and we agree. But that's their downfall at the moment.
The Brewers also lost Mizorowski.
They did.
I don't know how long he is going to be out for. It didn't sound like it was something super major, but either way, that's a big loss for them. He had been obviously incredibly good.
They're also a team that just churns out pitching.
It says they're expecting him to miss 2 starts.
Which that would
Um,
be the minimum stay
so
then, because it's 15
right.
days. So
So I mean, he's not out for a long time, but when you're in a tight division race, those 2 games, if you lose them, could end up
yeah,
being the difference. So
they are a pitching lab. I wouldn't be surprised
yep.
they would be just fine. But let's look at the NL West with the Dodgers leading the division right now, 3 games over the San Diego Padres, and that's kind of where it stops. The Giants sold, with their bullpen and Mike Yastrzemski at the deadline. Arizona obviously sold their some of their pieces, and Colorado's back there. The Padres were the most aggressive buyer. There's 2 big series this month in August, Dodgers Padres, both 3-game series, obviously 1 home, 1 away for each team. So, where do you see this? Like, do you think the Padres, with what they did at the deadline, I'm not saying are they good enough, because I think they are good enough. Do you favor them more than you take the Dodgers at this moment?
I don't. I don't think so. I think the Dodgers bats just the upside of Ohtani, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman. Max Muncy when he comes back. If he's not,
He comes back tonight.
He comes back tonight. I was going to say if he's not back already, because I knew
Yep.
it was soon. I mean, those bats for the Dodgers, I think I favor, just because I think there's just more depth and consistency with it. Thing about the Dodgers is the pitching injuries, man. Like every year it seems to be that way. And I know that Glass now came back, but
Snell came back.
But
Rocky's close.
they feel like ticking time bombs, man. Like every time they pitch, it just the way the history of those guys. And I think a lot of it comes down to the Dodgers pitching health. I think is what it's going to come down to. And you look at if you look at the Padres, I do not have a lot of belief in the Padres' depth. I mean, I'm just not a big believer in their depth. So they've got a good 5-man rotation right now. You look at Pivetta, Cease, Michael King. Is he hurt?
He should be back soon. He is hurt, but he should be back.
Yeah, he should be back soon. Like, and their bullpen is incredible. So
they have a really nasty bullpen at this moment.
I do favor the Dodgers a little bit, because they just got more consistent guys in their lineup. But I mean, the Padres have a chance here for sure.
They absolutely do. The Padres bullpen, like you said, is really good. I think their top of the rotation can still compete.
Yep.
With you mentioned with Cease, with Pivetta, who's been incredible this year. King, Darvish, when he faces the Dodgers, he's usually on. The one thing I think that the Padres did outside of strengthening the bullpen is I think they lengthened their lineup a good bit.
Yeah.
Adding Ramon Laureano, adding a guy like Ryan O'Hearn, even you want to say like Freddie Fermin's not the best offensive player, but he can't be worse than Martin Maldonado was.
Yeah.
So, they really lengthened that lineup in total there, to where it's no easy outs basically. The Dodgers, they've had guys at moments where like one part of the lineup's good, the other part's not. You got it. Also, you're dealing with, will Mookie Betts figure it out? I mean, I still believe that he will, but like you're on a season and he's under a 700 OPS at this moment.
Yeah.
He's been hitting the ball hard recently, but you still don't know, right? You're getting Max Muncy back, but you've had Conforto struggle for a good bit of the year. He's starting to figure it out. He's been hot for like the last month, but then you lose a guy like Tommy Edman, who had been really good for you. And you've lost a guy like Hai-Sung Kim, who's been pretty decent for you. So you're starting to rely on, you're having to have other guys continue to play well while a guy like Mookie's struggling or whatever. Yeah. So I definitely think it's going to be fascinating. Like these two teams, when they play, they find a way to play close all the time.
Yeah, they do.
So let's look at the National League wild card real quick, because we already talked about the American League wild card. National League wild card has the Chicago Cubs as the top team, 3.5 games up there. I think they'll still be a wild card team.
I think so.
The Mets are 1 game up on the Padres right now, who have the final wild card spot. And then it's 4 games back to the Reds, 6 games back to the Giants, 6 games back to the Marlins, 6.5 back to the Cardinals. Really, I mean, I think the wild card's pretty much set here. I mean, the Reds have a chance.
I would say the Reds have a chance, because there's a world where the Cubs have another pitching injury and just collapse.
Maybe
there's a world where
with the Reds
Yeah.
and Cubs.
There's a world where like the Mets just they've done this before. They've done it before where they just fall apart late in the season. I mean, especially with the pressure there. So I don't think that I think that the probably the teams that are in right now are going to be the teams that are in, but I do see a world where the Reds make it. So
Yeah, potentially. I believe the talent of the three teams in the wild card right now is
I
so
think
good.
so.
I mean, I was really high on the Reds coming into the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I believe there's a chance, but I think the other three teams have kind of separated themselves at the moment. So, well, David's not here this week to do player of the day. I don't think we really put much in there. So let me double check real quick before we sign off, just in case. I know we haven't done one since I think the trade deadline. So, let's see. Yeah, we have up until from the 27th. So, I mean, we can pick from the last few days, I guess, the 25th, 26th, 27th, if we wanted to. I guess it would really be the Nick Kurtz game. No, he won that before. So it was really between Gossman and Skeens. I guess that's really it. Between Gossman and Skeens for their games on the 26th and 27th.
I'm going to vote Eli White.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we didn't do that. So
2 homers in Bristol. Let's vote for Eli White.
Let's put Eli White on there. We didn't do a poll, but we'll just say Eli
we're just
White
going to vote for him. I don't care. We're going to vote for him.
Yeah. I'll put it in there. Yeah. So Eli White has done that. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. Like we mentioned, it's really just about the playoff pushes here over the next 2 months. We'll highlight big series as they happen, but really nothing else is going to kind of happen. So if you have any ideas of anything else you guys want to hear us talk about over the next month or two until the playoff races really get hot, be sure to let us know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, so we can help push this out to more people, get more people in here, and just grow the community. And hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will catch you guys back next week.